Need to reset.
So what was 1A?
Oh, 1A? Occurrence. Those are a little less significant, those anyway. Although I think they're helping you to develop some ways of looking at this, like some of Amanda's comments here are kind of this, the reasoning they're trying to have you develop, and you've been picking that up. So that's the idea behind this. Okay, let's see what else we have then. Number 7, are all supporting documents canceled at the time checks are signed? A is occurrence. B, of course, is examine invoices for which checks have been dispersed to see that they've been canceled. Examine invoices that have been paid to make sure they've been canceled. You know what that means to me? They're just stamped paid. Isn't that what it sounds like? What's the potential misstatement?
Double payment.
Double payment, right? Double payment. Now, I'm not crazy about their answer to D. Examine vendor statements. Now, that presumes that if you pay twice, that the vendor will indicate that to you, but they may not. You might have paid twice and they'll just show you as having paid one time and show no balance due. Right. In theory, they should show a credit balance in your account. That's why when you mention like tracing it back, if it's inventory, trace it back to the receiving report or trace it back to the purchase authorization.
Also, in our system, you can't enter, for a vendor, you can't enter the same invoice twice.
Yeah, very good. That's another good internal control, isn't it? Oh, sorry, invalid. This number's already been used. Yeah. Excellent.
So C, just so I'm clear, is just examining, not examining.
No, C was invoices could be double paid more than once. And number 8 is the custody of checks after signature and before mailing handled by an employee who is independent of paying, dispersing, cash, and general ledger functions. That's occurrence. Observe the handling of checks from when they are prepared to when they are mailed. Now that would be something, yeah, observe the handling of checks after they've been prepared until they are mailed. That's something that would show up in your flow chart also, wouldn't it? If you did intro control flow chart. Checks could be, just for C, checks could be dispersed and no merchandise was received. Or checks could be dispersed and no merchandise was received. Or checks could be received by someone other than the intended supplier. Checks could be received by someone other than the intended supplier. For D, they have 2. Trace checks to supporting invoice. And 1 they've had a lot for D. What is the other one? Reconcile vendor statements. If you have, I mean, I don't want to, dampen that. I mean, if you have legitimate vendors, I mean, who are, if you overpay them, we're going to say something. I mean, that's fine.
So talking about that in duplicate payments, in my last job, we shipped a lot of shipments via common carrier, and I think it was like Avery Express that we used.
Okay.
And a lot of the stuff that we shipped, they were constantly reweighing and reclassifying, the shipments.
Okay.
So we would get an invoice from them with an invoice number. 4 days later, you get another invoice, but it's the same number, but they reclassified it and reweighed it. It's a different amount. So we were constantly having issues. Well, partially because.
Well, if it's charged per pound, like for example, it makes a difference in the amount that's.
Well, you know, it was frustrating because they wouldn't use a different number. It was they were using the same number, so you'd have two
Right.
invoices, same number, different amounts, and it was just, and the girl that I had working for me just would put them in the system, and so would end up, you know,
Double paying?
double paying because, you know, on the first invoice they charged you 100, and the second one it
Charged
was
like 120 or
well,
something,
and
yeah.
it wasn't like the second invoice. It was an additional amount. The second invoice included the first amount plus the.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
see, so it's almost like triple pay.
So the
almost.
software would let you enter the same
Well,
number?
it would prompt you to say this invoice has already been used,
Oh, okay, because we can't.
but it would allow you to bypass.
You could
it.
override that,
Yes.
in other words.
Yes.
So she didn't pay attention to what she had already processed previously or reference
She
back
was
to
she was not.
detail oriented?
Just didn't care.
It was a competency issue. Now, in your
Yes.
case, you can't override it.
You can't override it, but there are ways, like if somebody doesn't care, they could put like an A at the end and then they're
Oh,
a
okay.
different number.
So it's a
you
different
know what I
number
mean?
now,
So
right,
if-
okay.
But